Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome back. This is Ask the Cheeseman, episode 286. It's a lovely day here. Well, not really. It's freezing cold. And you'll see the temperature pop up on the little display thingy over here later. But yeah, welcome back. It's great to see everybody. Big thank you goes out to all the financial members of the show. And thanks to George, Santi, Barbara, and Jim for renewing your YouTube membership. Greatly appreciated. And to Jared Johnson and Rebecca Patterson for becoming new patrons over on Patreon. All the links for that are down in the description below. The videos we've got coming up, you may have seen the Stilton taste test. I don't know how many people got notified of that. But yeah, the Stilton taste test went really well. Great cheese. We're still eating it. It is so nice just with crackers. It's really delicious. So go and check out the Stilton taste test if you haven't already seen it. It's on the channel. And this week I'm just putting the finishing touches on the Cots chili, which is Cotswold with chili. And that full video tutorial will be out this week. And then I'm starting to work on other cheeses, which is a bit of a surprise. Don't forget the gallery at 30 minutes past the hour, where we showcase all of the wonderful cheeses that you, the curd nerds, have made. And if you didn't get notified about the Stilton, there is always the best way to get notified of all of the videos is the Curd Nerd newsletter. And you can sign up for that just over here. Let me just copy the link. So there's the Curd Nerd newsletter of the sign-up page, and you can check all the back issues as well of previous Curd Nerd newsletters. Last one released last week was the Red Leicester Taste Test. So you can go and check that out. Let me just put the link in the chat for the newsletter. There we go. Oh, and the Curd Nerd light's going off. I didn't even realise that. Goodness me. Thank you so much. That's for Persnickety. Is the blinky thingy blinking like a blinky that should be blinking? Nice Blackadder reference there. Thanks, Persnickety. Really appreciate the $20 US. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, let me think. Let's say g'day to some people, of course, because we can. I'm not sure who the first was this morning. I think it's Persnickety. There's something about a Sherwin, but I don't see a Sherwin there. Jim Jackson is there too. G'day, Jim. Hopefully you're still there. Yes, Kim's going very well. She's looking after the doggos, having a bit of a Sunday morning sleep in, which, you know, sometimes maybe I should make the show a little bit later so I get a bit of a sleep in, but then I wouldn't feel as organised on a Sunday as I normally do. Nice coffee. Persnickety, Shauna, hope Nev's there and he's okay. And your mum. Boris, g'day Boris, and Valerie, hello Valerie. Krogan Love, how are you, mate? Good to see you. Who else we got? Jeanette, up in Queensland. G'day Jeanette, how are you? Oh, have I missed anybody? Patricia in very rainy Halifax, Nova Scotia. Got a lovely gallery picture from Patricia. Bit of a story there, which is good. Paul, g'day Paul. Hope that Dutch press is going to go, well, start making those plans, or the, should I say, the double lever action compound press is what I should really call it. For those who haven't seen the video, go and check that out. Mimi, g'day, how are you, mate? Croesus of Borg. Jeff, hello Jeff and Heidi, how are you? Nina, all the way up in Sydney, good morning to you. Thank you, Christopher, for subscribing to the channel if you're watching right now. Original Glazed 55, g'day, first timer, lovely to see you. You can ask your questions in the chat now. Just put 3 Qs in front of the question so I can, you know, it sticks out so I can check it out. Becky, hello Becky in Cape Town. Thank you for your photo and your email this week. I will get to that in a second, but you're up very late. What time is it there? 5 past midnight. Goodness me. I'm just looking. I've got an iPad sitting up here that has the world time on it. I can see where what everybody's time zone is. G'day Michael and Jenny. Lovely to see you in the chat as always. Tracy, good to have a day off, I bet. Sit down with your favourite Kurd nerd community. Mr. Bones Plays, g'day mate, how are you? And who else we got? Titus, Croesus of Borg, Lactobacillus Prime, Jim, g'day Jim, and Steve Wunderbar, nice to see you again. Amanda, hello Amanda, lovely to see you. First timer, I think. Herb, g'day Herb, and goodness me, we've got so many people. Molly and Anthony, Jared, LP and Charlie just down the road. G'day mate. Cheryl, hello Cheryl, lovely to see you. Right, I think I've got everybody. Okay, let's have a look. Patricia wants the... No, that's not the question I'm after. This question. The link to the double lever press video. All right, let's go and find it. Where the heck is the thing? Right, hang on. It's all a bit complicated. All right, let's go and find it. Press. Look for presses on the channel. Press. There it is. I was gifted a cheese press. That's the one there. So the plans... I actually had the plans are all in PDF and stuff, so you can send me an email, Patricia, if you're after it. It presses very wide cheese baskets, as you can see, and you don't need much weight on the end. Let me just get the link for that so you can have a look. Rightio. There's the link. Back to my head. Right, so yeah, so there's the link to the cheese press. It will be pretty cool. Who else we got there? We got Larry. Larry, how are you, mate? It's been a long, long time. I checked out your video for your 4-year-old cheese. Very interesting. It looked amazing. Well done, mate. Now we have another question here somewhere. Where is it? Goodness me, how far back was it? No, it wasn't that far. Here it is. Nina says, with your paprika kafili recipe, I think you said it's okay to use MA11 instead of MO30. But what is MA4001? And is MM100 okay to use instead? Whew! Lucky I'm a cheesemaker and I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so MA11 has the same two lactic bacteria as MO30, so yes, a good substitute. MA4000 series is known as the farmhouse cheese series by Danisco Choose It, and it has three. Let me think. Yeah, it's got three. It's got all the cultures that MM100 has in it, which are three mesophilic cultures, and it also has Streptococcus thermophilus, which is a thermophilic culture. Now, I find in the cheddar types that the MA 4001 series really does give those cheeses a flavour boost due to the additional the ST, the Streptococcus thermophilus that's been added into that blend. It really does make a difference. I might have to do a comparison one day, make a cheddar with, or a farmhouse cheddar with just MO30, which is the two lactic bacteria, the two mesophilic cultures, and then on the other hand, make the same cheese with MA 4001, mature them out same time, and see what the comparison difference is. But yeah, very nice cheeses made with the MA 4001 series. So if you're looking for that flavour boost, Nina, and you find that all your cheeses are starting to taste the same because you're using MO30 or MA11, then yeah, go for it. You'll be amazed at the difference. Anthony says, I use the select all button in my email so I can just delete everything, but I found myself unselecting that Curdner's newsletter. It was the only thing of dozens, out of dozens, maybe? Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's a nice newsletter. Yeah, I spent a bit of time on it, so yeah, good fun. What else we got there? Original Glaze says, that's funny, I just realised it's morning for you. I'm in Canada. Oh, welcome, my Canadian friend. LP says, any plans to retry making burrata? Good question. I saw an amazing video by Fred from the French Canadian cheesemaker, and Fred did a video. Have I got a coffee stain on my coffee cup? There we go. Fred made an amazing burrata video. So if you can turn on translations for it. Let's see if we can find it, shall we? I like Fred. He's a great guy. See if I can find Fred's video. Fred burrata. Fred. Will it find it? Will it be clever enough to find Fred's burrata cheese? No, it hasn't. Let's go to his channel, shall we? Shares Fred Urban Fromagia. Here we go. There he is. Good looking bloke, isn't he? He did a burrata a while back. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. So he's got a video here. Bonjour. I'll share that because some people may be able to do the French thing or translate. But yeah, he's got a great cheese. Let's see. I'll show you at the end what he's done here. Here it is here. So he's made little sacks of mozzarella and he's put this creamy mix into it, and it's really cool. So you can go and check that out. Hopefully I won't get a copyright strike on it. But yeah, so yeah, go and check out Fred's channel. It is worth going to have a look at. All right, there's me. Hopefully, let me have a look. What's the YouTube Studio console say that I didn't get a copyright strike there? No, it's okay. They didn't figure it out. All right, back to my head. All right, down the bottom. Titus says, I follow Fred. Shares Fred Urban Fromagia. Yeah, that's him. Okay. Got another question here from Jared. Hello, Jared. Lovely to see you, mate. What cheeses are good to make with 3 litres of milk, and what size basket would you use? One that's a lot smaller. Cheeses to make with 3 litres of milk. You're not going to get much yield. Remember, you get 10% yield from, store-bought pasteurised unhomogenised milk or pasteurised homogenised milk. Anything with a fat content of about 3.3 to 3.6, maybe 3.8, you're only going to get about a 10% yield. So you're only going to get 300 grams of cheese, which in the scheme of things is not very much. So I would recommend at least 8 litres of milk. Some of my earlier recipes were 8 litres. I scale up to 10 now because I find that size recipe is spot on because you can store half of it and eat half of it initially, and then store the other half in the cheese cave vacuum packed, and then later on go and try it again. But yeah, 300 grams is not very much. You could make with 3 litres of milk a couple of camemberts or some fresh cheeses, like some Colomers. What are some other ones that are small? Yeah, you could try the Petite Neufchâtel. I think that was a fairly small recipe. Becky's got some suggestions. Some other ones coming in. Molly says Bel Paese works with only 3 litres of milk. Oh, nice. You scale that down. Becky says, I use a small chowder mould for my 3 litre batches unless I'm making something like Robbiola that makes 3 separate discs from 3 ricotta moulds. So that's interesting as well. One cow makes 1 brie a day. Yeah, a very clever cow. Yes, so the milk from 1 cow would make 1 brie size cheese. Very interesting. Right, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, there we go. Here's another one. Jabanya is good with small amounts of milk. Thank you, Patricia. Yes, very good. Persnickety says half a pound to 10 pounds takes the same amount of time in pots. That's why I go for yield. Yeah, that is a good point. So, Jared, the larger the amount of milk you use, it's going to take the same time to make the cheese, whether you use 3 litres of milk or 30 litres of milk, or even 100 litres of milk. Which is weird because time is fleeting. So yeah, if you use 3 litres of milk, you're only going to get the same. Anyway, time doesn't scale, but the recipe can. Is what I'm trying to say. There you go. Another suggestion from Nina says you can make a Belper cannoli. Yes, that's a good suggestion. Or halloumi from 3 to 4 litres of milk. Yep. So that's a good suggestion. So we have another question here. I'm sure. Where is it? Persnickety says, many have asked how I got into this whole mess. Had a random recommendation, this bloke in Australia making cheese in his kitchen. Show me how to make cheese in my kitchen. That was in summer 2021. Oh, goodness me. Nice one. Herb says, Larry, I just watched your 4-year-old cheddar vid today. It looked mighty indeed. It was great. Goodness me. Right. Krogan says, what cultures would you recommend for an Epois style cheese? I haven't made it. Apparently it's very stinky, so I'm not sure at all. If anybody's made it, yeah, then chime in. That would be good. Mr. Bones Play says, do you have variants of cheese like Laughing Cow? Laughing Cow is a processed cheese, so I won't be making that anytime soon. So yeah, if you're going to have a look at the the ingredients on the back of the processed cheese, if you look at the ingredients on the Laughing Cow cheese, you'll see that there's only a bit of cheese in it, probably 50%. The rest is all other stuff. So no, I won't be making Laughing Cow. Persnickety says, sharing other channels, you are the boss. Thank you, Persnickety. There is quite a vibrant cheese making YouTube community. So there are lots of YouTubers that do now make cheese. I think I was the OG, but that was quite a few years back now. But yeah, there are a lot of people sharing their cheese recipes online. So yeah, it's great to see so many other cheese making YouTubers. Certainly not as prevalent as other hobbies like home brewing or charcuterie, making salamis and stuff like that. The cheese making YouTube community is not massive like those. I don't know why, but yeah, it's very niche, so it's good fun. Okay. Original Glazed says, I made my first cheddar after pressing. It didn't set fully. About 95% set, but with clear cracks, deviations. I heard too cold was the culprit, or wrong pH. Do you follow a strict pH? For my recipes, no, I don't. I try to keep them basic. So the steps are the steps. Usually they turn out fairly well. If there's cracks and stuff in the, I think you're talking about the final pressed cheese. Didn't set fully doesn't seem to make sense, because setting is when you add the rennet. Oh, we got another super chat. My brain's not working this morning. Thank you, Anthony. We'll get to that in a second. It's a good question too. So I think you mean the final cheese. So the final cheese, after you press it, if there's lots of cracks and there's not a smooth rind, you haven't pressed it hard enough, and the curds have been too cold. So what you can do is you can repress the cheese if it hasn't been too long. You can repress it under warm whey or warm water, and that will make the rind consolidate, and you should be good to go. We'll get to the super chat now from Anthony. Anthony says, how many cheeses are on your wish list to make? I've still got... I was looking at it the other day to prepare for other videos. And there must be about 20 more cheeses still. And that's just from ones people have asked for. But tracking down recipes is very hard now. I think I've gone through just about every recipe I've found in the cheese making books. You can see quite a swag of cheese making books that I've got recipes in there. But yeah, it's tracking down the recipes now is the hardest. So I've got a decent list, and included on that list is real buffalo mozzarella, because I've just been told about a month ago, one of my local fans told me that up at the local Indian grocer, there's a new one in town, and they actually have buffalo milk. So I have to get my hands on that, of course, and try to make some real buffalo mozzarella. That would be really cool. But yeah, there's about 20 on the list still, Anthony. So it should be interesting as the year progresses, how many more cheeses we can get going there. But always open to suggestions to put cheeses on the list. And thank you so much for your kind $20 super chat. I really appreciate it. Next question. Jim says, beer and mead is the same thing. It takes me about 5 hours for cheese, beer or mead, no matter what size batch. Indeed. Pasnicki said, yep, got mead from January, aging away. Excellent. You know, I tried the mead. Remember the very first mead I made on the channel? I think it's called Joe's Ancient Orange Mead or something like that. Anyway, I made this mead. And it was not the one that I made with the whey from a cheese. That was called Blonde or Bland. The very first mead I made, and I put a video up on YouTube about it on this channel. And it must be... When did I make it? 2019. And I still got a bottle left. And I tried it, and my goodness, it is so mellow. It is just... It's just it tastes like a complex sherry. It is just beautiful. So yeah, I love that. So yeah, really good. If you haven't tried mead before, you can go and check out that original mead video that I put on the channel, because it really does taste amazing after a few years. Krogan says that mead is faster than beer. I can make a batch of mead in the fermenter in 1 hour. It's just water, honey, and yeast. Beer, though, takes some time and work. Indeed. Robin says the best channel for mead is City Steading Brews. Yes, I agree. It is a great channel, and they do have some amazing meads and hydromels and lactomels and all that sort of stuff over on their channel. So City Steading Brews, for anybody who wants to look at more complex recipes for mead and that sort of stuff. So yeah, some really good stuff. Dita says, can I mix mesophile and thermophile culture together? Yes, you can. You can make your own blends of culture. Just remember what they do and what they produce, whether they produce gas or diacetyl flavors, or they have high proteolysis. I'll start again. High proteolysis, which is the breakdown of proteins, or high lipolysis, which is breakdowns of the fats. And yeah, when you mix them, you need to know what each of the cultures do on their own, and in combination, that would be very, very interesting. Jeff says, with the red bucket of sanitization, indeed, that's an in-joke on that channel. So it's very interesting. Go and check it out. Yeah. Nice one. All right. Kevin says, have made epoine. It's nearly 6 weeks old now and just starting to smell. It's not a beginner cheese, indeed. And the recipe I have recommends Meso Type 2. There you go. Thank you, Kevin. I really appreciate that information. Patricia says, I love our tiny home cheese making community. I enjoy being the only person at the potluck who makes their own cheeses. Oh, very nice. Yes, it's I've been surprised lately, Patricia, that there are quite a few people now in my local area that actually pick up from our store. And they're all fairly close. So, you know, Charlie's in the chat. He lives just up the road, and Charlie was the inventor of the Kurrajong creamy cheese. Very nice, thank you, Charlie. And Charlie gave me the recipe for the Maltese cheeses as well. So, you know, we do have a nice little community here. I haven't set up a meeting or anything like, you know how you have YouTubers have these meets? I'm kind of a little bit hesitant to do that sort of thing. I don't know how many people would turn up and, you know, what to say, what to do type thing. I'm a bit of a shy sort of a guy. But it will be interesting to meet all the local cheesemakers. Even though I've met quite a few that, like I said, who come and pick up orders. We always have a chat, which is fantastic, on what cheeses they've made and that sort of stuff. So it's always good fun. But yeah, it's good to have a little community in your area as well. Jared said, an update on my problematic pecorino from last week. I ate it the other day and it wasn't horrible. That's a good thing. It It had a bit of funk to it, which my partner didn't really like, but I thought it was okay. Better when baked. Well, better luck next time, Jared. Cheeses like that, if you find that they've got a bit of a funny flavour, especially with bitterness, they're better cooked. Or you can turn it into my style of American cheese, which is just simply the cheese melted with some water and some sodium citrate added to it. And it melts it down, and you can put it into moulds, and it hardens, and the flavour is a lot better because you can add some more salt to it as well, which is sometimes the problem. So anyway, Tracy says over at cheeseknees.com, our Facebook group is growing by 1,000 people a week right now, Gavin. It's definitely on the up. That's amazing. But what gets me, Tracy, is when I have a look, and it's a good thing, that a lot of people join the group without having made cheese, and they're all very interested in cheese making. And it's the support that you guys give that group, the Learn to Make Cheese group over on Facebook, if people haven't been on there before. It's a great little Facebook page. It's one of the best managed and administrated groups on Facebook that I've ever seen. There's no snarkiness, there's no ill feelings. The administrators are on top of any issues at all times. They have a very strict policy around contaminated cheeses and stuff like that, and they help people out. It's just fantastic. It's a really good community over there. And Tracy also says, and we send them all here to you. I know, it's so nice. Thank you so much, Tracy, and your community at Learn to Make Cheese. I really appreciate it. That is time for the gallery, Curd Nerds. Let me just make sure I can get this to work. We have some amazing things today to show you. Let's have a look. Is it working? Yes. Excellent. All right. Very first cheese today. So the gallery is brought to you by all the Curd Nerds in the chat and everywhere else, and people who watch the show, which is fantastic. So today, first cheese is from Patricia, who's in the chat. It says, "Hi Gavin, I hope you and Kim are well." Yes, thank you, Patricia. We are. Here is the latest in my Sweeney Todd series of cheeses, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It's a 3-month-old Asiago style with dried chilies called Butler. It is just a little moist and somehow crumbly. It still slices really well if I don't try to go too thin. The chili taste is definitely there and balances with the milkiness of the cheese. It is just so good as a cheese tray selection. It is a very successful cheese. Well, it looks really nice, Patricia. And the lyrics that inspired this cheese from the Sweeney Todd stage show, play, what have you. Mrs. Lovett says, suggesting a flavour, Tinker. Mr. Todd says something pinker. Mrs. Lovett says Taylor. Mr. Todd said something paler. Lovett says Potter. Todd says something hotter. And Lovett says Butler. There you go. I might not be back in town for time to chat. Oh, you're definitely here. Anyway, all the best from Patricia. Thank you. And it's a lovely looking cheese. Let's get in a bit closer. So that is nice, even distribution of the chili flakes. Very nice indeed. And you got some nice looking crackers. I don't know what they are. I've never seen that style before. But yeah, good looking. It's a little bit crumbly. I think whenever I make a cheese with chili, it does tend to turn out a little bit more crumbly because I think the pH is a little bit higher. So, so the pH is a little bit higher, so it makes the cheese tend to be a bit crumbly as it ages. So that could be why, Patricia. Anyway, great looking cheese. Thank you so much. Right, so next one is from Diego. I don't know if Diego's in the chat. Diego says, "Hi Gavin, after about a year I decided to come back to the curd nerd community." Reality is, Diego, you never really left. I came to the conclusion that I deserve to take some time off my family duties on Saturdays and enjoy my hobby, and we all enjoy the results. My go-to cheeses and the ones I usually start with, including this time, are Crestenza, Bel Paese and Guido's. I followed with Fontina and Manchego. Always follow your recipes and videos. I attached some pictures of the results. So this one is a Bel Paese. Can we just look? Yeah, Bel Paese pressed with 5 kilos for 2 hours. It looks very nice. And there's some, what's that say? Cottage cheese from the Bel Paese curds. Yeah, interesting. It's a nice way to do it. So you can take some of the curds before you press them. Of this recipe, you've used, with Bel Paese, it's a thermophilic culture. So the curds may be a little firm, but yeah, they look pretty good. No issues with those at all. There's your Crescenza or Stracchino, which is a fresh cheese eaten straight away, so that's very cool. Diogo goes on to say, by the way, I found out by chance is that with surplus curds from the Bel Paese, I use 2 litres more than necessary, which I drained for about 20 minutes in a cheesecloth on a colander. I made the best cottage cheese I've had in years. No need to add any cream, as the whey makes the curds humid enough. I only have to add salt. Once again, thank you for sharing your knowledge and good vibes. Nice. With us cheese enthusiasts around the world. You are immensely appreciated. Thank you, Diego. Best regards to you and your kind wife, Diego from Argentina. Thank you, Diego. I think there's another photo here somewhere. There we go. There's the Manchego before oiling. And is this the last one? Let's have a look. Yeah, it is. All right. So thank you, Diego. Appreciate sending those cheeses in. They look amazing. The next one's from Anthony. Anthony says, "Hey, Gav. I just opened up a couple of great ones today that I wanted to share with you. Of course, they're your recipes." Thank you, Anthony, who's in the chat, by the way. The first one is a Budakaiser. And yeah, this is it. This is the Budakaiser. Looks nice. 4.5 months old. And the next one is, oh, that looks amazing. So that is Wensleydale with rubbed sage. And that's 4 months old. That looks really nice. And, okay, it says, they are both beautiful. I'm extremely happy with them. I've made 2 of the Budakaiser wheels, so it will last me a while. Within the next few weeks, I'll be opening up a 7-month-old farmhouse cheese, a 4-month Canestrato, and a 2.5-month Leerdama. Everything but the Canestrato has been thanks to you. Yeah, I'll have to get on to that. I'll put that on my list. Canestrato. I think I've got a recipe that I just haven't got around to doing. So I'll put that on the list, Anthony. Fantastic looking cheese. I love this Wensleydale with sage. Look at the layer in the middle. That looks so good. And on the cut slice. I bet that had a really mellow and pronounced flavour. Looks really good. So well done, Anthony. Congratulations. The next one's from Becky, who's also in the chat. Says, "Dear Gavin, this is a quasi problem. It was a test and one problem is solved. I need to sort out what caused a bitterness in my hard cheeses. So I need something that wouldn't be aged too long, young enough for the bitterness not to be taken care of by aging. I chose a Guido's and I dry salted rather than brined. This is a 3.5-week old made on the 31st of July. There is no bitterness, so the problem is definitely that I wasn't replacing enough salt in the reused brine." Okay, yeah, cool. I was also think I might need to rethink about how many hours of brining that is being done. A 2-hour brining will be less salt than a 4-hour brining. Indeed it is. So the longer you leave your cheese in the brine, the more salt it absorbs, obviously. So yes, you'll have to rethink that. All right, so this cheese tastes good, but this is the first time I've gotten holes like this in a Guido's, and I've made 3 or 4 of them. It doesn't smell particularly yeasty, and I have in the past had one yeast infected cheese. It was definitely wetter and looked more like wet bread dough, although it is quite a bit older. Do you think it is yeast? I'm looking at that. It doesn't look like gas produced holes. Really hard to tell. The photo's a little bit blurry, but yeah, they just look like mechanical holes. You know, that doesn't look like gas. It's very hard to determine. I'm sorry, Becky, but yeah, they don't look. And I can't, because the light's a little bit funny. The light's coming from behind the cheese. I can't tell if the holes are shiny or not. Can I get in there? If they're shiny, they've got some gas production in there, and it could be a wild yeast or a lactic bacteria. Now, you didn't mention whether you used raw milk. That could be an issue. If you use raw milk, you may. It may be an issue. All right, there's some more information here. Let's have a look. It was pressed under 7 kilograms overnight, and then dried and vacuum sealed. Right, 7 kilos doesn't sound like it's enough pressure to close all those holes. They just look like mechanical holes to me. But that's from, you know, what I got from the photo there. Even if it is yeast, is it safe to eat? And as it doesn't smell off. One more thought. I did add a little Lactobacillus helveticus to this for some nuttiness. Is that gas producing? No. LH culture is not gas producing. Thanks for all the help, Becky. They look mechanical to me, but like I said, that could be the trick of the light. I don't think it's yeast, because the holes would be more pronounced and you'd have a split in the cheese as well. Is it safe to eat? Well, I'll leave that to you. I won't say anything because I can't see whether the holes are shiny or not. So unfortunately, I can't give you any more information than that. Sorry, Becky, but yeah, when you take the photo, put the light source at the front, and then we'll be able to see that a little bit better. But thanks for sending that in. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. Oh, the next cheese is from Michael and Jenny. Michael says, "Good morning, Gavin. We opened up our first Parmesan, which has been in the Cheese Cave since the 22nd of August, 2022. 12 months ago. Yeah, nice. It was made with 8 litres of milk and only weighed 765 grams, which is about nearly 2 pounds. It smells amazing, very firm, and tastes very sharp, and the flavour is very great. Thanks again, Michael and Jenny." So, you can see a little bit of crystals on the outside as well. That's interesting. For a long-aged cheese. There it is there. Nice texture. Bit crumbly, which is fantastic for a long-aged Parmesan. Thinking back on your cheese journey there, Michael, this would have been one of the first cheeses you made, I think, maybe. Or have we been talking that long? That's very interesting. But yeah, and I think there's another slice somewhere. There we go. Yeah, nice structure. And you can see some of the oils coming out of the cheese there, which is absolutely perfect for this style of cheese. And you can see, so look at the structure there on this bit here. This is just part of the cut. You can see the graininess of it. So, yeah, a very well-made Parmesan cheese. Well done, Michael and Jenny. Okay, I think that's it. Is that it? That's it. There is a video. I'm just going to try and see if I can show it. Hang on, because there's an email from Crystal, and she added 2 videos, but I'll only show one. Can I get it up? Let's have a look. Whoop, there we go. Sorry, there's a little bit of mucking around here to get the video up. Now, there's no sound to it, so it won't be too much of a problem. It's all behind the scenes. Isn't this nice? Right, there we go. So this is Crystal's cheese. I'll read this out and then I'll play the video. It only goes for about 10 seconds. It says, hello. When stripping the cheddar, the first thing I thought was a lot of mold, but by the time I got down to it, almost everything was gone. Maybe it could be a further improvement in you dip the cut fabrics in hot ghee to remove the air from the fabric. So you can see all this here. This is all of the cheesecloth, and she actually dripped it. She used ghee or clarified butter to soak the cheesecloth and then put it onto the cheddar. And you can see she stripped all that away, and there was a little bit of mold on the outside, but definitely none on the cheese. It says, I don't know how to store it. Does the butter have to be removed first and then rubbed with salt? I have a small wine fridge with a width of 34 centimeters that is between 5 and 18 degrees. There he is now, wrapped in baking paper. I didn't get that bit, but yeah, look, I think it's a great looking. It says here, there are inner workings with cold cuts without mold. Fortunately, I didn't hit the beautiful color of cheddar because it didn't use a natto. But yeah, look, cheddars don't have to be yellow. It's still a good looking cheese. Let's just play the video. It's a good looking cheese. And you can see all the cheesecloth that's been taken off. Let's just go back and freeze that bit there. We're doing, oops, slow motion. It's a good looking cheese. To store it now, when you cut it into bits, I think you've already cut it into pieces, Crystal. You know, the rest can be stored in vacuum packing, you know, and put it in the kitchen fridge so it doesn't age anymore. So, yeah, I think that's absolutely perfect. And thanks for sending in that little video. I managed to get that up there. And thanks to everybody who sent in videos and photos today to the gallery. It's been very good. It's been a great it's been a great little gallery. It's so cool. Now, if you want to send in photos to the gallery, how do you do it? Is the question you're probably asking me right now. Well, what we do is we go to the channel page and we go to the About tab. See over here? And down here, it says details for business inquiries, view email address, and you have to click that and do a little capture to say you're not a robot. And yeah, send it into there, and I will respond back with an email most times and pop it up into the next gallery. So yeah, so just go to the About tab. Now you can only see this About tab and the email address in a browser, desktop, laptop, and tablet. You can't see it in the app on iOS and Android on the YouTube app. So, yeah, very cool. So, that was the gallery. How much time we got? We've still got 15 minutes. Goodness, I rushed through that. Maybe I shouldn't. Right, so we got some more questions. Kevin's talking about his Epoix still. It says it's getting sprayed every 3 to 4 days with a mixture of Calvados and 7% apple cider. That'll certainly keep the mold off it. And the Calvados will add a nice flavour to it as well. So very interesting. Next question is from Boris. Says, I have 7 gallons of traditional mead aging in my closet right now. That's amazing. It's a lot of mead. Grocer says, I have a bottle of Borg mead I made, still aging for 7 years. I hope it's not infected with nanoprobes. So it'll be interesting. Nice. Let me see. Original Glaze 55. So I've been following your channel for a long time, and I've just started cheese making. The fact that you just come on and answer our questions is amazing. Thank you. No, it's fine. That's what I do on Sunday mornings. It's my time with my community and enjoying just hanging out. It's just cool. Patricia has a question. Says, are there many different thermophiles for cheese making? Seems like there's lots of mesophiles with wide-ranging effects on the final cheese, but I'm dark about thermos. Good question. I do have a list. Can I find the list in a hurry? I think I can. Now, will I be able to? So this list is from Mary Carlin's website, Artisan Cheese Making at Home. Let me just see if I can put that up on here. All right, yeah, let's make it a bit wider. And can we make it any bigger? How do I zoom in? What the heck's going on with Acrobat Reader? Where's the zoom in tool? No. Oh, here it is. They've changed it. It's down here. Rightio. So, yes, you're right. So I've got all mesophiles first. And you're right, there's lots of them. But then we get to the thermophilics, there's lots of those too. So, the main strains of thermophilic, there's like 5 of them. And these are all combinations of the 5. So ST, Streptococcus thermophilus, LB, Lactobacillus bulgaris, LH, Lactobacillus helveticus, and so on and so forth. But you can see that some of the thermophilic cultures also have mesophilics in them as well. So have a look at, do we have MO92, which I use all the time? MOT92. Looking. No, doesn't have it. Of course. Is it in another one? There's another list. Non-dairy cultures. No? Okay. It's a bit funny. But I do know that it has... it has 4 different strains. So it's got LL, and then it's got LB, LH, and ST is MA32. MOT92. I'm surprised that it doesn't have it here. But yeah, very interesting. I've got another Curdler Nerd Light go off. Thank you so much. I'll get to that one in a second. That's from Paul. Appreciate it, mate. I'll get to that after I've answered this question. So there are many. So I will... Where can I find the link? Let me find the link for you, Patricia, so you can go and dive into that. Actually, I'll send you an email. How's that sound? Send Patricia the cultures. Okay, I'll send that to you, Patricia, because I've got your email address from the photo you sent in for the gallery. So I'll send that to you, and that'll help you out. Okay, next question. Oh, sorry, let's do the super chat from Paul. Says, Gavin, I've been asked to show people at work how to make cheese as a team building event. Oh, scary. What cheese can you suggest that they could make and eat at the end of the class, and one that would be short-aged cheese? All right, so one I can suggest is halloumi. Other people are saying feta. Feta needs a fair bit of time in the brine, a couple of, a day or so in the brine to get salty enough. But you could do feta. That's actually the first cheese I made during an event. But I think the class went for 4 hours odd. Halloumi, I did that the other day, as you saw, the chili halloumi that I made, and that was, how many hours that took me? Yeah, that probably took me about 4 hours as well, from woe to go. Tracy's got another suggestion, which is a good one, that can be eaten pretty quickly as well as yesterday's. She's got a video on that over on her channel. If you go over to cheeseneeds.com on YouTube, Tracy's got a great cheese making channel. So she's got yesterday's, and the recipe to that is free over on the Learn to Make Cheese Facebook page as well. Queso fresco, another great suggestion. Yes, you can make that. You've got to press that for like 6 hours, but you could probably get away with 2 if you pressed hard enough. And that's a nice cheese to make, queso fresco, using my recipe. Very easy. Nina has a great suggestion. Paneer is a good one as well. Shows a very simple cheese-making process, been made on the Indian subcontinent for, thousands of years. So that's a nice, easy one as well. So that's a good suggestion. And thanks so much for the $25 US. Very generous, Paul. Really appreciate it. Okay, got some more questions. I'm sure we have before we finish. We've got 7 minutes left. Krogan says, I'm getting the chili cheese madness. Yeah, I've got another chili cheese coming out this week as well. So that'll be fun. Let's have a look. There's some comments about all the other photos. And there is a good question from Jim. Says, is there a rectangular cheese mould? And Patricia says, yes, the mould is brick-shaped. I believe it came from New England cheese making, which do have a lot of cheese moulds there. I used to have a rectangle mould, but it doesn't have a pressing plate. And I just can't get my hands on it anymore. So it's really problematic getting my hands on some of these stuff, because they're all from Europe, which is a problem. And we've got another, this one's from Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it. Another super chat. Where is it? YouTube sets the value. I don't know. Thanks for the plug. You are most welcome. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the $14 Canadian. That'll go a long way to keeping the channel going, that's for sure. Thank you, Tracy. You've got a great channel. Go and check it out. For those who haven't seen it before, it's cheeseneeds.com over on YouTube. She's got some great stuff going on there. And I love the interviews that she's been doing with cheesemongers, which it's interesting to learn from people who handle cheese all the time. They got some great information for people who want to age their cheese and stuff like that. So thank you, Tracy, for making your channel and continuing to do so. Okay. Becky says, paneer has to be salted if it is to be an eating cheese. The traditional paneer is unsalted because it's used in curry cooking and takes the character of the sauce. Indeed it does. So you will have to salt the paneer recipe that I've done. So that's a good fun. Jennifer says, hello Jennifer, love to see you. How do you say that? Kuwaita. I just did a class with that cheese and people loved it. I don't know how to say that. It's an interesting cheese. I'm going to have a check out. And Jennifer's got a nice channel too. Go and check that out. She does some natural rind cheeses, a heck of a lot of them, with the milk from her own cows. And we did an interview with Jennifer and Tracy over on my podcast channel. Hang on, we got some, how to say it. Kuwaihada. Oh, is that how you say it? And then Kuwaihada. Right, Kuwaihada. There you go. That's how you say it in Australian. What was I saying? Oh, interviews. Yeah, if you want to meet... So there's a lot of people here in the chat that you probably want to put a face to, right? And hear them talk about cheese. You could do no better than popping over to my podcast channel. A lot of people don't know it even exists. And let me just see if I can find it. Just for you guys, because, I love you lots. Here it is. So, I've got a full-blown podcast channel with 97 episodes. And you can see people such as Patricia, who's in the chat. You can see Ruth, who we haven't seen for a while, but lovely lady. And you see Jennifer talking there. We've also got Tracy, there she is, on episode 92. So many amazing people who are in the chat. We have full-blown interviews talking about the history of how they learned how to make cheese and all that sort of stuff. it's great fun. So let me just put the link for the Little Green Cheese podcast, I've called it. Don't ask me why, just cause. And there are lots of other people. We've even got Julia from Cheese History. We've even got an interview with Fred and with Lisa from Cheese 52. There are so many interviews there. It's good fun. So let me just put the link. And we're close to nearly 1,000 subscribers on that podcast. So it'll be great to get to 1,000 eventually. So yeah, I'll have to start releasing some more episodes, of course. Let me just put the link in the chat to the podcast. There you go. Go and check that out if you haven't done so already. It's a great resource. So many, so much wisdom for so many cheesemakers. It's really cool. Okay. Titus says, Spanish cheese pronunciation 101. Yeah. See, Spanish is not my native language. I really never grew up with Spanish-speaking people around me, like a lot of you in North America have done. I don't get I haven't got the syntax, if that makes sense. Anyway, Anthony says, are we in the middle of a cheese-making teacher conference? That would be interesting to go to. I'd really enjoy that. Herb says, great seeing all you curd nerds again. Keep making cheese. Thank you, Herb. Original Glaze says, I made a cloth-bound cheddar, put a thick layer of lard on it, assuming there would be less chance of unwanted mould. Ian? Who's Ian? Or am I doing the opposite of what I think I'm doing? No, lard will stop the mould from getting into the cheese. Just make sure there's no air pockets, which can hold moulds and yeast and stuff like that. But yeah, flatten out the lard. Make sure the cheesecloth is dipped in it first, and then wrap it around. You're doing the right thing. It will go mouldy on the outside. Don't get me wrong. The mould will then go dry, and so will the lard, and it protects the cheese. So, Jennifer says, I just got on here now and see that there's been lots of conversation about mead. We're just racking 5 gallons of sour cherry mead today. Very interesting. I like that a lot. I'll have to go and, if you're going to do a video about it, Jennifer, people like mead videos, so even if you've got a cheese channel, just throw a little bit of something different on occasionally. I'd watch it. Don't worry about that. Valerie says, I have a coffee mill, an elderberry jelly wine, and a methoglin stewing right now. Nice one, Valerie. Send me pictures. Don't forget to send pictures of the mead. I like mead a lot. Nina says, I didn't know about your podcast. My goodness, you got 97 episodes to go and have a listen to now, Nina. I don't know what you're going to do with your whole Sunday. It's amazing. I've gone over time. Goodness me. So, stay fresh, cheese bags. Enjoy your week. For those who want to learn to make cheese and haven't done the course, pop over to the Curd Nerd Academy at courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Links in the description below. So is the link to the newsletter. Go and check that out. And sign up for that. And every week on a Wednesday, usually, I send out the email with links to the latest videos, my thoughts about that cheese, and usually some special deals from our shop at littlegreenworkshops.com.au, where Kim and I have a cheese making, and among one thing, there's lots of other stuff like soap and bath bombs, and we have lots of stuff there. Anyway, go and check that out. If you want to get any merch like this very cool mug, the Certified Curd Nerd mug, pop over to merch.cheeseman.tv, and you can see all that. Thanks, everybody. It's been fantastic. And, of course, Patricia says, stay fresh, cheese bags. Oh, goodness me. And that was thanks to Lynette, thank you. Not Lynette. Oh, goodness me, I can't even get it right. Anyway, that'll do. I'm done. It's so good. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And I'll see you same time, same YouTube channel next week. All right, see you later, Curd Nerds. Bye-bye.